So let's talk about Five Below. This is a specialty discount retailer. What that means is they sell products at a very discounted rate. A lot of their products, the majority of them, are products that are less than $5. There are some products that are between $6 and $25, but most of the time they're really discounted products. They also focus on the tween and teen market, which is very niche, and it's something to note for those of you who have cheap products but might not make sense for that tween market. One of the reasons I create these trainings is to ensure that you understand how these retailers operate. And if you've never heard of a Five Below because you live in another part of the country, then these are great opportunities for you to explore. So I like to give you information about the particular retailer, but also to give you a feel for what retailers you might not be thinking of selling to. So the thing about Five Below and the reason you want to consider exploring them is, first of all, if you have a tween product or a teen product, you definitely want to consider going after them. But also they have 1,200 stores they're responsible for as of now. That is tremendous buying power. 1,200 stores is like an instant success story if your product converts. It's a lot of money to be had. It's difficult to sell to them because you're going to need a product that is around $1 or so, a little bit more to be able to get to that $5 price point. Could be more, but if you really want to make any money on that product, it's going to have to be super cheap. And do you have products that are off-priced items that would be good for that audience? If you do, go for that retailer because they can buy a lot of quantities because they have a lot of products in their stores. My recommendation is to get in your car and go to a Five Below if you can and see what they're doing, what they're buying, what their deal is, and maybe there's an angle there because there are certain products that can be $6 to $25 for that audience, and you're just going to have to be one of the few that gets placed in that realm with them because it might be the right product for that other price point, but the majority will be very discounted. So that's something to think about. You definitely want to go to their stores and see which products actually were able to be higher ticket and why. That'll help you. The other thing you're going to have to think about is if you're going to sell to a tween teen market, your packaging better match. It better have kids on the box or whatever it is, or bright colors. You got to really look at the schematics of what that looks like because you can't just throw in any product into that store. It really has a theme, and if they care about that theme, they're going to ignore you if your packaging isn't aligned. The other thing to think about is when you're dealing with such a discounted store, they're going to buy in bulk. You're going to need a solution to be able to repurchase quickly if it sells. The reason I say that is when you sell really cheap stuff, they tend to buy massive quantities, and that can actually backfire on a company who gets a bulk shipment of something cheap and then it runs out. So you really need to streamline that manufacturer and figure out where you're going to get that product from if it converts. Because again, with 1,200 stores at that price point, these kids are gobbling this stuff up, and you do not want to miss out on those opportunities. And the buyers are going to want to find out where you're getting these products and so forth. Five Below might be working with a lot of distributors to try and streamline that process. So if you reach out to a Five Below and they say you got to work with a distributor, it's only because their distributors are out there scouring for new products, putting it all together, shipping it directly to that retailer and making it a lot less headache for you, the buyer. And you want to consider that because if you are selling such a cheap product and you got to work with a distributor, the margins are very slim and you have to be careful there. So again, it is possible for you to sell to them directly, but a lot of times when it comes to these really discounted prices, a lot of times they're dealing with the distributor because the distributor takes all the different products and ships it in an organized fashion. It's a lot less work for the buyer to try and work with all these different companies, and that's where the distributor makes their income. They take a piece off the top, and that's success for a distributor. For the manufacturer, it can be very painful if you're trying to make a lot of money. Again, it depends on your situation. If you are a new company and you're just trying to sell cheap stuff super easy, fast, it's a difficult market because, again, there's so many ways that you could conceivably hurt yourself because, again, the margins are so slim in those situations. So please go and do your due diligence before you explore this retailer. Definitely, it's a great opportunity, but there are some things to think about and some concerns there because it could backfire on you. And that's where people lose money, right? Where they go and have barely any extra money. If something goes wrong, you have to be incredibly careful with the numbers. And that's what happens with these dollar type retailers. It's a little bit more than a dollar, but you get my point. Anyways, hope that provided value for you. If you want to learn how to sell to retailers like Five Below, we actually have a coaching and training system that walks you through what words to use, how to get buyers to buy, so you can get into stores in a weekend. You can learn all about it and then actually go after them in the proper way so that you can actually make real money. And it's probably the most comprehensive course available today on selling to the world's largest retailers. And we've had tremendous success with it. You can take a look at our website below. The website links are listed there. Otherwise, go to retailmba.com. We also have live events, matchmaking services, and all sorts of things related to selling into retail chains. This is Karen Waksman, Retail MBA. Please like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate you and hope this information helped. Thank you so much.